Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about, does research internship really helps you during your Int Ph.D or PhD interviews? So stay tuned till the end of this video because there would be a lot of discussion on this topic and many of you guys have been requesting me for this video. So here is your video and keep on requesting, so I'll make your request in format of a video and I'll give my honest opinion about this topic. So you know that research internship is a great thing and many of you guys don't have it, but you wish to have a research internship experience and you think that research internship experience helps during the process of interviews. Is it really true? So this video is all about that, whether it is true or it is kind of like a exaggeration. So overall, what we are going to discuss today, that does internship gives you an extra added advantage in the interview hall or not, or whether it's a myth or it's a reality. Because I've qualified so many interviews and I can really tell you the experience. I've seen so many people with different backgrounds and different experience setups, so I can tell you what really matters or what really don't matter, right? So I'm a student from TIFR Mumbai, so I can tell you about whether interview requires an internship kind of experience or is it just too much. So the correct situation is complicated because first of all, it is not mandatory. There is nowhere it is written that it is mandatory to have a research experience prior to application to these courses such as Int Ph.D or PhD. But if you have it, then it would give you a extra added benefit. It would be useful. But honestly guys, there are many students who are not selected even if they have internship even from USA. Okay, but people who don't have any internship but have a clarity of thought, they got selected. So what is really important is to have a clarity of thought, critical thinking, and kind of like a logical framework of your understanding. So if you have these three things, then no matter whether you have internship or you don't have internship, it really doesn't matter. Okay, and I'll tell you more examples on that. But this kind of questions are really confusing the youth, that whether doing an internship is absolutely necessary or not. मेरा क्या होगा, मेरा तो internship ही नहीं है, मेरा तो selection ही नहीं हो पाएगा. आधा लोग तो वहीं पे apply नहीं करते. So don't think in that direction. I'll tell you why. So if you're thinking that मेरा तो internship नहीं है, क्या हो जाएगा, I won't be able to like compete with the people who have internship. So you're absolutely wrong. You can also compete. But there are benefits of interview. There are benefits of these internship processes. I'll tell you why. So first of all, it increases your thinking ability. And you are in an environment, right? So in biology, we always talk about environmental effect, right, on disease or health or etc. So obviously, your mind would have an effect if you are in a research environment. Even if you are not doing it actively, if you are seeing people doing it, then you would grow an urge to do it by yourself. You would kind of like have that curiosity inside you, right? Otherwise, if you are not in that environment, you are in an environment where people are saying, क्या फर्क पड़ता है internship करके, क्या फर्क पड़ता है research करके, then you would be thinking the same way. Really doesn't matter. I just need to mug up things and vomit it into the exam copy, and that's all. Our grades are great, and I'll get a job. So this would be your mindset if you are not in a research environment, right? So always I would suggest that you should explore. Now, many of the cases, it is not possible you for exploring the research internship or exploring a research environment. And first of all, this is due to maybe your problem with your college. There would be constraints from your college. The timing clashes with your internship timing. Sometimes it happens you don't have enough amount of funding to go in other cities and stay there. But there are many funding options that you can apply for. If you want to know that, there would be a second video and the link would be available in the I button. So anyway guys, I'll tell you that what really internship changes inside you. So if you go for an internship, you would see many people doing research. Obviously, your inquisitive mind would ask, what is going on? Let me take a look at it, what people are doing. So you would go and ask them some questions, and in this process of interaction, you would know something. So you won't actively feel that you are learning something in that environment for a few days, but eventually what happens, you would know something, you would develop a logical framework, and you would analyze things with that particular, with a critical point of view, okay? And that is important, because you need to understand how to criticize things, how to reason, or how to like ask that whether it is right or wrong, etc. Right? So your reasoning skill, your critical thinking skill, and your analytical skills would improve if you do an internship. I mean, not necessarily it would improve, but if you want it to improve, you have an option to improve it by talking to others, by interacting, by doing a part of their experiment, by getting involved into this research. एटलीस्ट रिसर्च होता क्या है वो तो पता चल जाएगा, क्योंकि घर बैठे हमको ये पता नहीं चलता है कि रिसर्च होता क्या है. Because the things that we learn in our books are very different from the real scenario. Because in the book we would always talk about the ideal situation, but in real scenario things look very different. So I'll tell you. But whatever is really important to know, that exposure really matters. Now, hands-on experience is really important, and there is no supplement towards that. So when we are talking about research, when we are talking about biology, we lack hands-on experience. How much practical is happening in your college? Very little, right? So in our study, we have our theory part too much developed, too much strengthened, but our practical knowledges or problem solving abilities are not really flourishing. As a result, what happens, we end up mugging up things. But doing research is very different from textbook related learning. Here you would have different type of problem, and you need to troubleshoot that problem. Yeah, it could be frustrating, but it could be challenging, and that challenge could give you a space for thinking about how we can solve this problem. So your problem solving ability would be really augmented if you do an internship or you think in a research oriented fashion. Also, it might be possible that you aspire to be a researcher, but while you really jumped into research, you found out that research is not for you. You are not liking it. It might be too much frustrating for you. It might it might perturbing your balance between life and work. So you might find these kind of situations, right? So it's better that you decide early that whether you like this kind of profession, this kind of lifestyle, or you don't. If you don't, why waste time doing PhD or doing a master's with research, right? So that is why this is kind of like a mock test for you to understand whether you like it or not. Either you would love it or you won't love it. And if you don't love it, there is no point of doing something just because you get a PhD degree. So please, अपने दिल की सुनो. Each of you have great potential. I don't know in which field, but you have to identify that potential inside you. Nobody else can come and tell you that, okay, you have potential there, you have potential here. So you have to identify that, okay, I can do this thing really nicely, and I really don't get tired on doing these things. So that would be your advantage point, and work on that. Why you want to work on a research or anything that you don't like? So really these things are kind of like your experience dependent, or your it is totally dependent upon your interest, I would suggest. So the way we are trained is to mug up textbooks and vomit. So we really need to break down these kind of ideas and focus more on learning with a direct exposure or from an experimental point of view. Now the problem is, in India we don't have that much infrastructure such that you can go and each of you can go and get a hands-on experience. So this is the worst reality that we have to accept. So if you are thinking that you are the only one who is applying for an internship, no, that's not the case, because there would be thousands of people, if not like tens of thousands of people would be applying for this internship position, and everybody cannot be selected, right? So they also have selection criteria, they have also stringency, they have also knockout criteria. So in India, everywhere there is a competition. But even if you manage to get into some places, you can really use that opportunity to learn and discover yourself, whether you like it or not. It really matters whether you like it or not, because nobody would do the PhD for you. You have to do the PhD. So people might think, हाँ PhD कर लो, PhD करना सही है, मेरा भतीजा PhD कर रहा है, मेरा वो PhD कर रहा है, ये PhD कर रहा है. लेकिन सुनो, the thing is, at the end of the day, you are going to deal with these research, deal with the environment for 5 years. If you don't like it, don't get caught up on that situation. It would be detrimental, I'll tell you. Many people drop out, they become mental patient and all of these things. So it's better that we get a sense of what is research from a very early point of our life, and then it would give us an opportunity to decide that whether we want to go or not, or we don't want to go. At least it would be your self decision, right? And you have nobody to blame on. So this kind of mindset development can be done with this kind of internship experiences. For example, you're learning a topic, let's say Western blot. So the way you learn the topic, you learn, okay, what is the definition, what is the principle, what is used and all, and then done. But when you start doing a Western blot, you would understand the nitty-gritty problems. Then what you would do, you would understand a problem, or you would think about something, and you can incorporate these techniques to answer those questions. So far what happens, your learning is kind of like a separated learning. That means you learn some techniques, but you don't know where to apply, or you read about some phenomena or theory, you don't know which techniques you can use to prove these phenomena or theory. So this gap is a big problem. So I have seen in my life, when I ask students that, okay, can you tell me what is the definition of chipseek? And they would say, okay, chipseek is this, chipseek is used for this, chipseek is used for that, cannot be used for that. But if I ask them the same question, that you are a scientist and you want a particular, you are working on an unknown transcription factor, you don't know where it binds in the genome, now how would you proceed? They just stop. And many of you guys just just tell that, okay, we'll tag it. That's the general question happens. So what happens, your brain is not able to think, because there is a disjunction between these two skills, your thought process and your information. If you cannot blend these two, then there is a big problem. That's why if you go to the lab, you jump into the research part, you would do some Western blots, you would fail many times, and you would see, okay, I'm failing because of this reason, I'm misinterpreting because of this reason. So these things you would not learn from a textbook, that you can learn from a hands-on research experience in an internship. And that is why I'm saying internship is good, but also don't feel guilty or bad if you don't have an opportunity to do internship, or even if you tried but you cannot do an internship, right? Because there are many people. In my personal life, when I applied for TIFR, I had internship experience from ISAR Bhopal. I would share it sometime later, that what was my internship experience. So if you want to know my internship experience, I'll make a video on that. So for that, you have to comment in the comment section, okay, that you want my internship experience and how that really helped in TIFR interview or any other interviews, okay? But what happens, I've seen many of my close friends, they didn't have any interview experience, but they had a logical framework of analyzing things, they have a critical thought process, and they got selected in TIFR with me. So it really doesn't matter whether you have an internship or you don't have an internship. The ultimate goal is to develop a critical thinking and reasoning skill, and you have to analyze things from a logical point of view. So if you are able to get to that point, then you would get the success. Doesn't matter which route you would take. But I would say leveraging yourself into this internship would be a good way. But if you don't have that opportunity, what you can do, right? So that is why I would make a video series about interview opportunities in India. When to apply, what to apply, how much fellowship do you get, is there what you can do to get an internship, how to write research proposal for internship, etc. I would make a video. So this is just the first video, guys, which talks about the importance of it. But I hope till now it's clear for you that what is the importance, right? So overall, internships are useful to develop logical reasoning and critical thinking. That's what I wanted to tell you guys. So इतना क्यों सोच रहे हो भाई? You should give it a try. And before that, you should like, share and subscribe my channel. You can support me in Patreon. The link of Patreon page is given in the description. There are a lot of video topics like these ones in my Patreon page, and I really tell my secrets in this Patreon page. So you can just take a $5 subscription and be a Patreon. And my courses are present in Unacademy, but I also teach many of these tactics and also theory and how you can develop your research aptitude. These things I teach in Unacademy. So feel free to subscribe, and using my code AP10 you can get a 10% discount. And see you guys. Thanks for listening. Bye guys.